What was the word you used for Sardinia? From Sardinia?
Chardonnay.
Yeah. Previous Crusader fortresses, you mentioned the donjon. Is that just a dungeon in a different language or something? Not really.
It is the same word, but it doesn't mean dungeon
It
is
doesn't.
English today. No. Donjon is the fort of the owner, probably coming from Latin dominus,
Okay.
and not a dungeon in the sense of a prison, as it is in the dungeon in the city,
Okay, that's
in London or something like that.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone, if you look over here around you, you can see a beautiful example of a Romanesque style architecture. Okay, very thick building, arches, pointed arches here, and cross vaults. This is a cross vault. You see, there's a vault here, and there's a vault here, and they cross each other. No need to sit because we're not going to spend that much time in here. But you can take the chairs. No, you can't. Sorry. I'd love it. But anyhow, the place is entered via the entrance over there. This is a new breach. This is something modern, so there's only one way in. And over there, there's a room that can be approached only from here, and a window allowing you to inspect what's going on in here. Moreover, we are underground. There's no way out from here, not easy way out. And in the walls, there are grooves, such as this one, which is obviously for a chain, right? We speculate, we don't know, but we speculate that this may have been a prison in the Crusader period. Because this building is Crusader from the 12th century, 13th century to be more precise. And it looks like a prison. Now that makes sense, because usually in such great complexes, palaces, headquarters of Templars or hospitals, you'd expect to have a place for imprisonment, even for the members of the order who sinned, who did something wrong. You need somewhere to detain them. So this may have been the prison. In this prison, they put a nice historical display talking about the history of the place of Akko. We've done that on the road, that's why we're free with that. But if you decide to come here and use this space, you can. Usually it will do well if you have a little group, family, or perhaps a little group of 3-4 people, not with a 50 people group, because then of course you're bounded to the itinerary, and then you have somewhere you need to get to on time for a prayer or whatever. So that's a huge limitation. Yes.
Could you just explain once more this jutting out stone section?
This is a supporter for an arch. Look over there. Look behind you. This is what you're talking about.
Like this one.
This is it. In the beginning of the arch. Now look over here. This is
Destroyed.
the beginning of an arch.
What was the function?
He was not restored, and it supports the ceiling from collapsing.
What kind of rock is this?
I'm sorry?
That's why
This is sandstone. It's kulkar. Kulkar is a type of sandstone. Okay? Alright. And by the way, you never guide with a loudspeaker in such places. I hope you know that already, and you can now sense how disturbing it is. Alright? So he's an elderly guy, unlike myself. I'm young and strong, but we'll allow him to a historical site, about 800, 700 years old. So everything around you is from that period. But I think the most exciting thing is to know that here we're actually standing on a floor, which is an original floor. Quite amazing. It's an original floor, restored as usual, of course. They didn't find it in this condition, which is a pity, by the way, because they should have some mark, some way to allow us to know what is reconstructed and what is not reconstructed. They failed to do that. It's inappropriate. You don't do such things. But that's what we have. Anyhow, you can see the flagstones here, and they create a kind of an arch. Do you see that?
Yeah.
As if there's some focal point in there. I don't know what. We haven't found found anything of importance there. But there must have been shops around us. So this is a little piazza, a little square outside the fortress. Okay, we are not inside the fortress yet. This is the civil area. The fortress is right behind this wall.
This is open air, or is it?
So this is an open air area, definitely. It's an open air, and the fortress is over there. So the temple, the hospital fortress is immediately next to civilian houses. Okay? To get into the fortress, you need to go beyond this wall. So let's do just that.
Reach the walls. Wait till the...
القاعة الجميلة. Beautiful.
جميلة.
I might be there on Friday.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now in the beautiful hall. What do we know about the beautiful hall? Well, we know that two things. That it is a hall and that it is beautiful. Other than that, we have no idea what was its function. That's the main problem here. We have no signs, we have no inscriptions, we need to guess. So it looks like a reception hall, perhaps, maybe, makes sense. And you can see the quality of the stones. They are beautifully dressed. Okay, you can see the beginning of the arch over here supporting the vault. If you look up there, you don't see much, but on this direction, on this side, look at the window.
Statue, please.
Look at the beautiful window with its own arch on top and a staircase. See that? There's a staircase, meaning it must have been some kind of access leading down to a gallery. All right, on the next level. But the most beautiful thing here, it's broken, but still impressive, is this thing. What you're looking at is a gargoyle. Now, if you go to Notre Dame de Paris, for instance, and you climb up, I don't know what's left now after the fire, but there are many like these. These are monsters. But this monster is very special. It has a frog eye, as you can see, but it also has a mouth. Okay? So if, as a guide, you stand here and put your hand inside and you tell a lie,
Bites.
it will bite you. Yes, it will bite your hand off. You have seen several mutilated guides in Akko. But, of course, its lower jaw is missing. But the fact that it's formed like that tells me that it's not just any gargoyle. It was probably falling from another layer, another level, the higher levels, and this must have been used as a gutter. Think about rain falling on the roof. You have to get rid of it. You have to channel it somehow. And the way they did it is by using animals, monstrous heads like this one, leaving an opening here, so basically the water would come out away from the walls, because you don't want it to be the water to be on the walls. So this must have been outside, on the outside of the building, not the inside.
Eiyal, a gargoyle is Gothic.
Sorry?
A gargoyle, it's
Not
Gothic.
Christian.
Is what?
Gothic in design. Is
What
it
do you mean Gothic?
like Gothic architecture?
No, it also appears in the Romanesque architecture.
So it's before.
Here it's mostly Romanesque. Here it's mostly Romanesque, not Gothic architecture.
What's the difference between Romanesque and Roman?
Because Gothic is
Roman is Roman, Romanesque is Roman-like. It's a term given by scholars to a style that is reminiscent of the Roman style, but it's not really Roman. It's much later.
Medieval
10th
times,
century,
right?
9th century, 10th century. Sorry, a copy inspired by, maybe inspired by. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I've got a tattoo.
مرتب كان بيستعمل البنا. لا تستطيع.
No, we're out of the beautiful hall, and therefore we're again out of the outside the fortress. This is a street in Akko. It's not part of the fortress. Where's the fortress? Here's its wall. Here's the wall. This is the corner of the fortress. We are outside the fortress. Now we have a street. We have a street here, but as busy as the city becomes more and more busy, and we have here a meeting point, a junction between a road going this way and a road going this way, you need to accommodate that growing number of people walking along these streets and not disturb those who want to go into the fortress. How do you do that? By separating the elevations, as we do today in junctions. And you can clearly see that beautifully here. Over here you can see this wall, and it goes up to this point, and from here it begins to curve. You see that? It's the beginning of an arch. This is the thick of the arch. This is an arch going up like that and coming down at this one. Over here, you can see the beginning of another arch. So there's another street up there. There's another street up there. So without interfering traffic here, you have people walking up there.
This
No, guys, in medieval times, we are under the open air. The sky above us, right? Over there are arches, so you don't see much. But here, we're back in the open. But when they build the arch here, at least this section is now covered again. Let's go. Yes, please. Gutter from a later period. A gutter from a later period. Yes.
And one more question.
Yes.
Was it plastered originally, or is this just
This
part of the
plaster
renovation?
is original. I'll show you. Don't touch it.
This was
تحاجز كل شيء.
Okay. Where's sorry?
They tried their best.
Yes. So, we're still outside the fortress. This is the peripheral streets going around the street. We're going around. Who's talking there? It's a female voice. Where was I? Oh, so we are still outside. This is a street, a walking street for everyday use. And it's over here. Again, that's the northern wall of the citadel. But it's interesting to see around us, every square centimeter was covered by plaster. Yes. And you can see the plaster here. However, it's very difficult to see the details. So they have this sign showing you that there are scratches. Something is carved into the plaster. Over here, you can see a bird's beak, right? And a hand. Looks like a dinosaur to me. It's not, of course. No, can't be.
They didn't know.
No dinosaurs back then. But it looks to me like a dinosaur. So it's nice to see. We don't know what it means, or what it meant to them. But on the wall here, there's a constant presentation of different types of decorations. This is definitely a fish. Right? Is this? Wait a second. Is this the sun? Maybe spider webs. Spider's web. Sorry. Maybe.
Maybe it's Nachola.
You read my mind.
Yeah.
What is this?
Tour guide.
Here's our bird. It's a pelican, they say. I think they're right.
Yeah.
Well, no, the hands excluded.
Branch
Some kind of
A jar.
how do you call that? A shield, yes. It's a shield. Heraldic shield, right? Okay, now we have a circle and another circle. These are Venn diagrams. Hundreds of years before Mr. Venn invented that in mathematics.
Ah, cool.
Just kidding, I don't know what this is. I'm still traumatized from the 4th grade. Some ship, perhaps? Is this a symbolic ship? Is this a church? Is it just a scratch on the wall? Who knows? Another insignia, another heraldic shield. And it goes on and on. Okay, you get the idea. So when you were walking here in the medieval period, firstly, there was no roof upon your head. It was lit in sunlight. You could actually see around you.
So,
Nowadays, it's not the way the medieval people saw the street. And that's why we need the signs to enhance what we see on the walls. On the other side, remember, that's the fortress. There were the Crusader order of the Hospitallers made good use of the outer face of their fortress. Inside, it's for the members of the order, maybe for pilgrims. We'll talk about that later. But here on the outside, why not use the facade for shops? Rent them and get some money. So that's exactly what they did. And over here, there's one shop over here, another one over there. And in these shops, or next to them, we find this unique type of vessels. When you see that, you immediately know you look at sugar production. You use the sugar cane, you squeeze it, you press it, and then you get the molesite. Then you get the liquid coming out, and then you allow it to rest in this vessel, and then eventually you get the liquid accumulating down below and solidifying. You get sugar, solid sugar. We have hundreds of these, not here, but all over the fortress. Near Jericho, in other places too. Apparently, the sugar industry arrived during the Crusader period because the Crusaders knew sugar. It's not new to them. Sugar was known in Europe before the Crusader era. When they came from Europe, they know what sugar is. But here, they become the sugar producers. So it's a different thing, and they export it to Europe. So that's what we see here, hundreds of this. But sugar is also important in the medieval mind because sugar has some medicinal qualities. Yes, if you feel bad, all you need is a spoon of sugar and you feel better, right?
Change your mood.
This is a medicine,
It
right?
will change your mood.
Yes, eventually you die out of
Diabetes.
diabetes. Yes, they didn't know that, but they thought it is good for you. So, in the process of healing, in their pharmacies, they would sell sugar, priceless commodity coming from the Middle East.
question, Eiyal.
Yes.
Back there where we saw the arch above making it to show
Yes.
the interchange was a double thing. Does that mean there was a double road going into a double-decker road going into the fortress? Or where did the...
This was not going into the fortress.
So where was the
It's
double
a
decker
road
road?
outside the fortress,
Yeah.
just like this one, leading you this way, that way.
And,
not
and back there where we had the double
Yes, when you
archway?
have the flyover, that's
Yes.
also a street, but for pedestrians, for walker park.
So one went that way, the other went that way.
Perhaps, yes. We didn't find this section, we only have that, but it makes sense.
Just regarding the plaster, by the model right outside before we came in, there was also some plaster on the wall. Was all these buildings plastered on the
Yes,
inside?
they were plastered, that's amazing. Remember your visit to, I think we were there together, to Kochava Yarden, Kalat.
Belvoir.
We were there. We were standing in the courtyard, remember? Seeing the walls, and I showed you, I remember using this laser pointer, same laser pointer, and I showed you the plaster on the wall. Everything was plastered. Okay, they had a sense of beauty.
It was aesthetic, not so water wouldn't get in?
No, nothing to do with water, because this is not
Decoration.
a hydraulic plaster.
Decoration.
Basically, water corrodes this plaster. Okay, let's continue. We're still outside the fortress. In a moment, we'll get back into it.
I don't even know. But it's just broadening the knowledge, and when you write it down, you remember.
This is Gulta.
The Western Wall.
Sorry.
Where was the biggest sugar
We've got no idea. We only have one or two places. We have one that. Yes, very good. I was thinking of the
قطبي
name.
غماز طيرتي.
And also in other places, but very small number.
زمر أهم شيء زمر
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're still outside the fortress. Here it is. This is the wall of the fortress. But the question is, what is this? Well, these are shops. These are shops. You can see the windows. Here they would probably sell you some food, vegetables, maybe clothes, whatever. So these are Crusader shops on one side of the road. But imagine that this roof doesn't exist and the concrete roof is gone. What you will see on top is a modern Turkish arch. In the Turkish era, what's in here, on this level up there?
The prison.
Prison. What's in here to the south? The hammam. Oh, I love that. It is so satisfying. Yeah. When understanding dawns upon your listeners, it's a great experience. You'll learn to enjoy that too in the future. So yes, this is basically the hammam. These are the foundations of the hammam. These are the foundations of the prison. And on May 4th, 1947, when the fake phone technicians from the Eiyal climbed up to attach the explosives, it happened right above here. I'm going to show it to you later from another perspective, all right? Because it's very difficult to understand Akko, because you go underground, overground, different directions, you get things, everything's mixed up. So remember, this is the southern side, this is the hammam, this is the prison. Now it makes sense. Now things begin to make sense. So now I'm going to take you behind this wall back into the fortress, one of the most impressive halls in the fortress. Let's go this way.
Bring your ukuleles.
Not that way.
Goes to nowhere. Up your head.